I'm curious. Okay, so like you're an intelligent man, Mr. Dornan.
Yeah, I'm very.
When when 50 Shades, when your franchise, your potential ginormous franchise, which indeed became a ginormous billion-dollar franchise, came around, you knew the baggage that was going to be there for good or
Mhm.
for bad. You knew there was a built-in audience and it was probably going to do huge. It was also going to probably and indeed was savaged by a lot of critics.
Yeah,
Um, was there a tremendous amount of ambivalence?
I sought counsel from friends, family, a lot of actors.
What did
Who,
Garfield say? Let's go down the list. What did Redmayne?
he was too busy just swinging around New York. I sort of nearly did it and then didn't get it.
Right.
And I've said this before that when I didn't get it, I felt a bit of relief. And then he maybe felt the same and inside. And then suddenly there was, and but with way less time to make a decision.
Yeah.
I got cast 5 weeks before we started shooting, and my wife was 34 weeks pregnant. I knew because I'd thought about it before when I was nearly got it the first time when Charlie got it. I knew that it came with all that baggage, as you say, and that the reality was it was going to make a ton of money and fans were going to love it and the critics were going to despise it because that's exactly what happened with the books. But I think movies that are made for the fans that the fans love can only be seen as a success, really. And I'm really grateful that both Dakota and I have, despite some pretty rough stuff, we're still making work that people really like. And I've had some of those sort of said critics do a bit of a 180, and
Yeah.
particularly in the last few weeks because I've had this show in the UK that's come out and been a massive success called The Tourist that will come to the States pretty soon. And I had a nice moment where you were talking about like friends and family saying stuff and people say it's a mistake. When I got cast in 50 Shades, The Fall had come out, got a great reception, been nominated for a BAFTA, all this great stuff had happened. And then they announced that at 50 Shades. There was a journalist in The Guardian, was a big paper in the UK, called Lucy Mangan, who wrote a whole article about what a terrible career choice I'd made. This before I'd even shot the thing. I'm there thinking, Jesus, right, okay, so that's the general vibe. Anyway, Lucy Mangan wrote a piece last week about how it's all sort of, not that she got it wrong or whatever, but like, because of Belfast and The Tourist,
Sure.
she liked them both and maybe it wasn't all the stupidest move in the world and blah, blah, blah. Which I did have a little, like, sort of nice little moment reading that article, I have to say. Because as much as you think you don't care, you kind of do. You kind of do care.
Well, and you feel it. I'm sure you feel it, whether you're actively seeking out the reviews or not. You feel the general.
I went through a phase of really actively seeking them out, and actually, I once found this thing where someone had put like all the worst things said about me from the first 50 Shades movie into like a neat little like Instagram post.
Oh, how convenient!
What am I doing? Like what? And I would look at it all the time, and I agreed with a lot of it. That's a sad thing.
I saw an interview you did with your buddy Eddie Redmayne, I think about a year ago, and you talked about how it's like dangerous to have a plan, right, as an actor. I mean, that being said, I look at the last few years as you started to do stuff after the 50 Shades movies, and it does feel like there's some kind of plan in place. What was in your head like that coming off of that? Was there a sense of like what I need to kind of show people I can do outside of something like that?
It's almost like it's hard to plan it in a like, particularly having 3 kids, having to be like, right, I love this job, but it's 6 months and it's in
Right.
buck two. I'm going like, Jesus, it's so hard to plan ahead. And so there's a sense of that. And actually planning the actual work is easier when you have a choice, I've got to say. And I've been lucky now for 8 years or whatever. I've had a bit of a choice of the work I do. Having that choice, I've been able to make those decisions. Do you know what I mean?
Yep. It seems like that's the constant for most any actor. And certainly in your case, I mean, this is the recurring theme. You talk about the early, as you segued from modeling into acting. I mean, and you just got to keep showing them there's more to me than that.
Absolutely. And there's a challenge in that I really love. And I've always loved the challenge.
I asked the followers of Happy Second Fused for some questions. I have one here from Kimberly Huber, who wants to know if you hadn't become an actor, what career you would have pursued. Is there one that jumps out?
I would have tried to do something in sport. I've always loved sport. Have been very sporty. But yeah, I think a lot, like I was one of those kids who watched Jerry Maguire and thought, yeah, I'm going to do that. But so it would have been maybe something in sports, but I think the reality is it's sort of harder to get into than people think, sport. Not as hard as acting to get into, but like where I came from, you could drop out of university or not go to university at all and still do that to an extent and then work your way up without a degree or whatever. And I felt that's probably the reality of where I was headed.
Congratulations on all your success, buddy. You are now a Happy Second Fused veteran at long last, long overdue. Buddy, thanks for your time.
Thanks, Josh. Cheers, buddy. I appreciate it.